What you mean?
See?
Dex is like, and doubt, serious doubt that you will stay out of character for longer than 10 seconds. Oh, man.
So we're trying to figure out if there's been enough time on our various excursions here and there for Brother Nick to have modded Nero's monoblade.
Oh.
Was there any more sublight travel time?
Well, there's the time that yeah, because we had to refuel in Anagras. We spent some time doing that.
Mm-hmm.
How much time are you up to?
6 days, 19 hours, and 12 minutes.
Well, do we even have that fixed zero helper? Because if not, then getting more sublight time is just, unnecessary. Does Saoirse have fix, Danielle?
I don't believe she does, actually. Let me check.
Okay.
Ben, can you check for Kate?
Kate does not have it either.
Okay.
So the bad news is that you do not have another person with fix 0.
Nope.
Ben, you're
I have
killing
fix
me.
-1.
The good news is that you guys are currently hiding on a planet with lots of natural cover. So
I was wondering about that if we stretched out our scouting time to cover the remaining week.
now I will remind you that your current your location that you've picked to be somewhat close to the city, you have less than perfect cover, but you are confident that it will put you in pretty good shape for a couple of days at least.
Okay. So we starting with Saoirse asking Nero to get that drugs out.
So, okay, so upon Nero asking her, oh, did you talk with Brother Nick about this? Saoirse's gonna look incredibly uncomfortable. And she will say, you know, I think I left some Twinkies for you in the dorm room. Let me go grab those and I'll be right back.
Is that where Brother Nick is?
Is she asking that in character?
Uh-huh.
No, it is not where Brother Nick is.
No, Nero asked that.
She asks that?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Saoirse's gonna say, no, but I think he might be on the way.
Okay.
As she gets a ding on her combat back from him.
At this point.
So where is Brother Nick on the ship right now?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because right now the map is set up for the experimentation that we did last session. That did not go well. It was low-key terrifying.
That poor guy.
Incidentally, I clarified for sake of your planning that further attempts to use that drug are not going to go any better until you get some more expertise or more knowledge about the drug.
Yeah, I was actually going to see if we could get our hands on anything that would help to, I guess, help us to figure out the compounds and things like that and what we could do to make it consumable or workable for humans.
Yeah. Basically, if you were able to find some sort of maybe a hospital or pharmacy that would have more detailed information stored somewhere, you might be able to find something like that.
Mm.
Ideally, maybe if you could find some sort of specialist who is familiar with the drug.
Point two, option one, subsection A,
Oh
subsection.
my word.
Became
As per
relevant,
my last
baby.
email, says Ethan.
Been saying I'm scattershot, and this scattershot struck gold.
Yeah,
uh,
I didn't say nothing would stick. I was thinking after, it's not that he's frantically doing this. I just loved the image of you at the keyboard just going nuts. Like, because I mean, you don't post until you have like
There has to be less than
the
24
character
hours.
limit. You have the character limit's worth of comments, basically.
I'll have you know I left, I think, 16 characters.
Oh
Oh,
boy,
I adore that.
actually big 16 characters.
That was after I realized I was like negative 16 characters. That was primitive.
Mm. Yeah, I had to get a little less wordy with a couple things.
LOL.
Trim out some conjunctions.
you would save a lot of space if you used less space and more emoji.
Yeah,
Wow,
for my tabs.
so true. Yeah, just
It makes it look so clean.
I mean, I feel like the snowman emoji and other emoji do the same thing.
It is the perfect, yeah.
yeah, when you've got ship or drugstore, you can boil a lot of those down to one or two emoji.
You just need to make like a compass rose, not a compass rose, a legend. You need to just make a legend at the top.
Oh, you guys are
Mhm.
actually talking about making the emoji useful. I just mean using them as bullet points.
LOL. He's like, I'm just talking about cute stuff, guys. Just making it cute.
Pretty. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh shoot.
So where is Brother Nick? I've moved Nero. Decided that she was sitting in a chair watching something on the holovid.
Trying to decide if he would be back where he is or talking with Tom. I guess I'll go talk with Tom. He's been sitting in that spot for a few seconds. Or
Oh, that'll make the
since.
conversation even better.
Oh shoot. Okay. Yeah.
Nice
Oh,
choice,
if I want
Ethan.
these, then yeah, I can be back where I was.
No, it's
No, no,
okay.
no.
It's
It's
okay.
Late.
perfect.
Too late. Too late. It is headcanon accepted.
I'm trying to make things easier for Danielle. Come on, Ethan.
Come on. Oh man. Okay. So he's in there talking with good
With
old
Tom,
good old Tom. All right.
what generally are they talking?
Good question. Hmm. I'm guessing some chit chatting, maybe asking him about his long term ambassadoring plans.
Okay. Yeah, that would probably be an interesting discussion for Brother Nick. And Tom would express appreciation at being asked about that sort of thing because he's given it some thought, but he doesn't know a ton about the parties at play or much of most things. He's pretty much winging it, flying by the seat of his pants. But you get the general idea that his goal is he's thinking that they will need to be at least loosely aligned with someone with some power because they aren't going to be able to defend themselves from a force like Dabuk if it comes down to that.
They could actually get a pretty strong ally with Urala if they said they tried to force us to be weapons and we didn't want to be weapons. We just want to exist.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, but
definitely some.
there's some good merits to this idea.
Whoop.
But the hard
Mhm.
it's all going to be in messaging to help it come across.
All right, so about the time they start flushing that out, pun intended,
Mhm.
Saoirse's gonna knock on the door.
Okay. Saoirse would hear some some clacking.
Does she understand this clacking to mean come in?
I don't know. Possibly.
I remember
She's
we
been
had
trying to learn some of the common things. She's not big on languages, um, as I recall, but um,
Has this been enough time? We're got to be nearing enough time now.
it it doesn't sound like a strongly what's the word?
aggressive
Yeah,
clack.
it doesn't sound aggressive or that doesn't have the tone that she would expect. So yeah, she's guessing it's probably a come in.
Okay.
I am 3, 4. Yeah, 4 hours and 48 minutes away from learning how to speak Tom's language.
Oh man.
Nice.
Had to go back and check about diplomat. How long that took?
Was it a week? Be
Mhm.
Yeah.
functional already? Okay. Yeah, it's definitely um I think we'd established it's a bit tricky, at least some of the sounds, to reproduce with human anatomy, but Brother Nick can pretty easily supplement with, uh, like a little something to thump or tap.
I'm imagining him with a spoon and a washboard. I don't know why.
Yeah, Damsa had done some. I don't remember what all she had used exactly, but yeah, she did some tapping and clicking on things at hand to reproduce some of the sounds that have particular meaning.
Yep, had no trouble trying to learn how to communicate with the alien. Never mind us humans.
True. True that.
Emotional damage. Emotional damage.
Hmm.
That's what I'm hearing in between the lines.
You'd be
Mhm.
right.
That was this is where I'd put my trophy if I had one.
Yep.
All right, so.
All right. Well, she's gonna suck it up and walk in.
Mhm.
Um, upon seeing that they're discussing important stuff, she's gonna feel really bad. One, but she does need to talk with Brother Nick about this, and so she'll just say, "Hey Nick, do you have a moment to talk with me for a bit? Then you can get back to the very exciting world of alien peace talks."
Still trying to figure out how Brother Nick would play this.
Tom grumbles a little bit at her phrasing.
I meant no
She,
offense.
she hears in her head, "You know, you may call us the Jakari. If we get accustomed to calling each other aliens, that will not really help our case of becoming more friendly."
Aye, that's fair. What if I just call Nero the alien? She makes an image in her head of Nero running on the hamster wheel.
Yeah, he sends back a sense of amusement. And he actually approximates a smile with his mouth.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how terrifying is it?
It's at least an 8.
Okay, cool. We can worry about that later, but at the moment, let's put off the smiling. We can practice that for another time.
He
But I need to get this. I need to get this Brother Nick here and just bunk off for a bit, unless Brother Nick wants to talk in here. No, oh no, I spilled hot tea on my lap. Why? Why am I incapable of drinking like an adult? But it was on my lap and not the keyboard this time, so
that's an improvement, I suppose.
progress. Yay.
I was gonna say you got that white mug or whatever it is
No.
for a reason.
When it's in the holder, it's fine. It's when it's in my hands that it's a problem.
Oh, well, no, that's not what I meant. I'm talking about, what's that thing called? The white the glass bottle with the white cushion in the lid. You did get that for a reason.
I have no idea what you're talking
You know what I'm
about.
talking about?
I
Okay.
haven't used it enough. Sorry.
It's the one with like
Ben,
the sipping lid. I don't remember what those things are
okay,
called.
that's not, you can't use hot beverages with it.
Really? I thought
It's not made for that. Also, we are streaming right now.
Okay,
This is
sorry.
not a conversation.
Fair. Anyway,
to
are
be
you
honest, this is exactly the kind of conversation that frequently happens on streams. But I appreciate you trying very hard to get us back to the role play.
Trying very hard to not have this just be a married couple bickering and
Hey,
then some stars without number on the side.
We weren't bickering.
People crave.
Now you're
That's what
bickering
brings
about
it
bickering.
from the yep.
Um,
All right, Brother Nick, can we bunk off real quick, or? And that is an opening for you, Ethan, to speak anytime.
Yeah, so I've been trying to decide how he wants to, or how Brother Nick has been feeling about all this.
Well, the time is now. So
Yep.
whatever you were thinking about, this is the time.
Yeah, I guess he'll agree for going and talking. He's still, it's like he's trying to play it cool, but he is still kind of upset.
How long ago was our conversation about the opioids?
I think it's only been a few hours at this point.
Ben?
Your conversation about the opioids? Yeah,
where we ended up deciding to put it in the emergency smuggler's hold.
Yeah, it's not been that long.
Wow.
Real life, literal weeks. Game time, hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so if he doesn't want to go out of the room with Saoirse, she's happy to talk with him in the room, though. So would that be
Yeah, I
better?
guess I'll have him drag his heels since y'all were wanting the fun of Tom being there.
I mean, you don't have to have him drag his heels. I'm just saying that if it doesn't make sense for your character to want to go talk with Saoirse alone, then it doesn't have to be forced.
I think it could go either way.
Well, you must choose one.
Yeah, since y'all were wanting the fun of Tom being stuck there as the poor bystander.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so how does he tell Saoirse that?
Uh, I guess yeah, I'd go with saying something about including Tom in more of our conversations.
Saoirse's gonna look at Tom when he says that, and she's gonna ask him telepathically if he's comfortable with that.
He'll respond with a yes.
Okay. So if he's comfortable with that, she's going to explain that, she had already made it clear that she wanted to keep it. Did we ever get a name for that, Ben?
A
For
name
the
for what?
substance that we found in the flask?
You did
A
not get a name
proper
for it.
noun? No, there was no proper noun given.
There was not.
Unfortunate. Okay, so just the substance. Very anticlimactic. Um,
Yeah, at least I don't think we decided on one.
no. But you did say it's clear and smells like flowers, so we'll have to get to work on something exciting, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah, I had a couple ideas. I just hadn't settled on.
that's okay. So she's just going to express once again that she had said she wanted to have that in case of emergencies, and had wanted to be able to use it if the need arose. And as they're now going to be leaving the ship, and heading out, she thinks that the need to use it may arise while they're out of the ship versus while they're on the ship, or they might not get a chance to get back to the ship before they need to use it. And so she's going to tell him her plan that she's been considering, which is trying to get a very small vial of it, essentially in her arm, uh, sort of like a mini smuggler's hold, but on her body. Um, and that she would want to have it on her person in case they needed it. But since, it was something that she felt, that Nero especially felt needed merited conversation with Nick and Cade, or at least one of the two. So would he be willing to help with getting that to work.
Yeah, so I think he'd sit there for a while after having given the look pictured in.
Severe blinking ensues.
And ask, "You want me to put the drug that I didn't want the ship inside the ship in your arm?"
Aye. And I say that because, at the very least, I'm not going to be selling it off to some teen chump. And I'm the kind of person to only resort to emergency type things when it's a true emergency. This is where you respond.
Yeah, I think after the
If you wanted to ask more questions, that would help me a lot because I'm not really sure what Brother Nick would need me to say. You know what I mean?
yeah, I guess I was thinking so after you said the selling it to teens, he's gonna look like you slapped him.
Oh.
Yeah, a none too
Saoirse
gentle
is going to be
reminder of.
grimacing when she realizes what she said.
I mean, yeah, that is a none too gentle reminder of kind of what he and Cade were implying, at least generally implying that, or I should say, comparing what she was wanting to do to, if that's clear enough. Oh boy. Meanwhile, I am confounded by how difficult it is to manipulate simple ovals and circles in Roll20.
Yeah, that's why I gave up and used PowerPoint for mine.
Come on, man.
Yep. Roll20 is still not great. It is good at letting us have character sheets and letting us roll dice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely considered looking into some other possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much everything else is paid, although usually not too much. I don't know. That's a discussion for another time. So, what is Brother Nick gonna say? He can
If you're
respond out
torn
of character
between
if
two
needed.
responses, you can always roll a d10 or something and be like, okay, if it's 1 through 4, I'm going to respond this way, and if it's 5 through 10, I'll respond this other way. Or even just if it's evens or odds.
Uh, and I'm kind of thinking at this point he'd be lost for a response, and maybe, yeah, I think just murmur out eventually that was low.
To be fair, I was more trying to let you know what I wouldn't be doing instead of trying to point out what you might have done in the past. But I am sorry.
I guess from there he'd turn to the practicalities of it. Saying he has met drug mules who had less fancy methods for internally smuggling contraband.
She's gonna give him a dead stare.
They're saying we got to find something that's liquid tight, and you preferably some stuff you can layer. I suggest they go look in the med bay.
All right. Yeah, in the little med bay, I could find some little vials used for storing biological samples.
Hopefully not glass.
No, not
Oh,
glass.
oh, I was gonna say probably, but
Oh yeah, I guess you can find plastic, and then
Yeah, they're plastic.
I don't know if any additional wrappers. I see normally. I thought Saran wrap, but that's not exactly medical grade. It's
Right.
some exterior thing to cushion it.
Well, are there sufficient supplies in medbay to, whatever they may be, that
Yeah, you can hand wave that to make a vial container.
Yeah, let me see.
you hear
I no, I can't hear anything. Actually, just realized I don't. Yeah.
she's just going, Mommy, Mommy,
Oh
Mommy,
dear.
hey Mommy.
I can go. Oh, yeah. Wow, she is. Okay.
Yep.
Here I can go. I can handle that real quick. I will just say about the container. Um, I'll want a heal check from someone to see. Um, I guess just to consider which materials you're using and how you decide to place the little vial. If you're looking for more like things to cushion and contain stuff,
Ben, please.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get it.
and try to roll higher than a 4 this time.
Oh dear.
That was
Okay.
probably
Thanks for the
Um,
encouragement. Appreciate it.
I don't
Absolutely.
know. I guess my fix part comes in later. I don't think that's going to help with the material selection.
Yeah.
Or I guess the part of the material selection that keeps you from giving yourself an infection or something.
I mean, I was hoping for glass because generally materials like glass are better for carrying caustic things. Like they tell you don't even want to use um you don't even want to use plastic with like essential oils. So,
Yeah. I
but
think.
this is in the future. It is space.
Mhm.
I am hoping maybe
Base
plastics have come a long way. Yeah.
And the opposite could be true for glass as well, or sorry, not the opposite, the same. In that maybe glass in the future just doesn't break as easily. That's my concern, is it breaking inside her arm.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like those people who put light bulbs in their mouths.
Yeah,
my
you,
dear.
like make sure not to high five anybody, cause oops, now we're
What
loopy.
about a glass vial inside of a plastic tube,
Yeah, that might work.
padded?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, a couple, 2 or 3 layers probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we're capable of creating some sort of setup
yeah.
for this to work.
Uh, roll the heal now so that it's just there and ready when Ben gets back.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Unless you
Nerve,
think
nerve.
Ben somehow brings you good luck, which.
Oh no, I gave up that thought a long time ago. All right.
I don't know. Did I think any? No. I'm trying to think of anything I could do to help
I'm
boost your
trying to
roll.
think what I would use as my attribute for this. Would it be intelligence, maybe? Because that sounds weird, but I'm trying to use my knowledge of
Yeah.
healing and
Yeah.
knowledge of the body. So, okay.
Do you have one that argues you to a higher
It's
mod?
higher than a 4.
Congratulations!
Shoot. I wish you could delete
Very-
rolls on Roll20. Hashtag I know why that's a no-no, but
Oh wait, you
shut
said
up, Ben.
you wish you could what?
I said I wish you could delete rolls on Roll20. It's like an embarrassment. I would still take the result. I just don't want it staring at me the whole time. Ugh. Ben had just come out of the bedroom door, by the way, when I said that. So he was looking at me really disapprovingly and shaking his head. So that was fun.
Something else that Saoirse could do to help Tyre narrow down. And I just thought of this now because I thought I'll just roll a bunch of attacks and take it off the board for you. Is throwing up force constructs for Nara to beat up.
Oh my.
It would have to be a time when we're not expecting any other issues or problems because wait, a force constructs commit
Maybe?
for a day or seen. And
Cool.
sorry, Ethan, I kept talking over you.
Oh, I was trying to think of the force construct thing off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But that also reminded me, I was thinking about Brother Nick offering to spar at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Beat up. Yeah, I don't think I have any punch at all. Did I?
Mhm. Tangible force construct is on turn and for the scene.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow. So yeah.
That is one you could burn more readily.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. All right, let's see. So, yeah, I'll say that Saoirse is not confident in uh, which other materials would be suitable to put inside her body around whatever little vial.
So so we were discussing things a little bit.
Hmm.
We were just thinking about instead of it being like one or the other, um, we were talking about the possibility of maybe putting it in medical grade glass vial and then putting that in a plastic tube.
Hmm.
So
I think they could probably find a combination of those now.
Uh,
You're talking about with maybe some little bit of padding in between the two,
yes.
yeah, gauze, or I guess not
so it
take us.
doesn't rattle.
Yeah, take us off into the gutter here, but condoms are normally.
Yep.
You can you can easily pad the space between the plastic and the glass and create a little thing to embed in her arm.
I'm gonna say there's gonna be plenty of cotton medical wrap, and they also create those things that they kind of look like little finger condoms, but it's for when you have to wrap your finger and you have like a deep cut or stitches on your finger
Oh,
and you get
finger
wet.
cut.
Yeah.
Hmm. So, has Saoirse told Brother Nick anything about how she's going to have to do this?
I will say she's explained in the time you were gone that when we were deciding on it out of character, it was decided upon in character.
Yeah, you'd already talked about that for like introducing the idea that you were wanting to stick it in your arm as like
Yeah.
a smuggler's hold kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is she knows that it's going to be a little tricky because it's not, she can't just do it as easily as a typical metamorphosis because she's creating something that's pretty abnormal for a human form or a humanoid form anyway. Um, and so what I had decided was that first of all, it's going to require her to keep an extra effort committed while she's maintaining that.
Yeah.
But it's also going to require her to inflict a little bit of damage upon herself, both to get it in place and to get it out.
All right. Well, we know that Saoirse is no stranger to inflicting damage to herself. So, on that
Yeah,
note, uh, she'll explain that to Brother Nick with no obvious signs of concern for herself at what she's gonna have to do. Um, I honestly don't know if he would even realize, I guess, like any problems with that. Um,
Cutting a hole in your arm? I mean, I think there's some obvious.
well, I'm saying not with cutting a hole in her arm, but like with the fact that like she's gonna have to. Well, anyway, I don't know. He's a smart cookie. It'll be fine.
yeah. All right then. So,
I just wanted to roll it.
oh, I was like, is Nero helping? Because that might be construed as the opposite of helping.
Told me to roll an 8 check. You didn't tell me what to use.
She's like, Saoirse, hold still. I'll help make a hole in your arm for this. Boom. All right, there is now a large hole in your arm.
Oh no.
No. All right. So that being said, it sounds like since Brother Nick is not actually crafting something, improvising something exactly, I'm not going to require a fixed check. I don't think. So you're just using some prefabbed medical equipment. So for Saoirse, now is she going to go and kind of do this on her own, or is she going to get somebody to help with her with
She
this?
she was gonna ask someone to help her with it. She's not
Okay.
an idiot. I mean, she just takes risks that are
Hmm.
probably not merited all the time.
Okay.
Anyway,
Well, they still have to get the goods from Nero, anyways.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So she's gonna. Yeah, and she might prefer then someone with the stab. Well, obviously either Brother Nick or Nero with the stab skill to. I'm gonna require a skill check to just to see how
Yeah, she would
well
definitely
or
ask
badly it
Nero if
goes.
she wanted to stab her again in the arm.
So I was gonna suggest maybe building some apparatus for at least helping her get it in.
Hmm.
That
Okay.
sounds like a whole lot of work, Brother
Bro-
Nick.
broad strokes. What are you talking about?
Um, I guess I was picturing like those scaffoldy kind of things they show for doing like some orthopedic surgeries.
Oh, okay, I got you. Like something to hold her arm in place
Yeah,
and
just something
kind of
so she
slip
get
it there.
precision. So when she makes the cavity, you could get a
Hmm. Okay.
easy cut.
Yeah. Give me a Give me a fixed check from Brother Nick then.
I'm gonna guess Brother Nick mumbles something about not wanting me to cut off my arm while I'm at it.
All right. So, Brother Nick is no medical doctor, but he understands the concept of stabilizing your base and
Yeah, I guess this is like a very fancy wood jig medical grade.
yeah, exactly.
LOL.
Uh, and of isolating axes of movement and all that, uh, so that you can fit what you need to fit exactly where you want it.
All
So
right, BME
he
major,
can
come
he can jerry rig something up with spare parts found the uh, in the storage and puts together something that ends up looking pretty similar to a splint, um, but with a nifty little slotted like channel, I guess, for that'll rest against the skin of her arm and kind of guide where a knife will cut to help everything, and then slot the little vial in.
Cool.
And now Nero is being brought in to do the cutting. Is that what's
Yeah,
going on?
so
Sure.
need our stab specialist.
You can call Nero in, and she comes in and looks at both Brother Nick and Saoirse.
And the apparatus, I'm assuming.
The apparatus. Oh, I'll go get it. She goes back to the smuggler's hold, looks around, makes sure that nobody's watching her, keys in the code, and goes and gets it.
Okay. Cade will have been watching pretty quietly while all this is going on. He would have kind of given his grudging agreement as well. And whenever it's getting close to time, I guess whenever Nero comes back, he'll just shake his head and say, "Be careful." And I don't need to watch this. Uh, and he'll excuse himself. Uh,
Thank you, Cade, for that insight. None of us had thought to be careful. Not once. No, not once.
he
Nero looks at Saoirse.
he'll he'll exit the door, and then he'll poke his head back around just long enough to give Saoirse, a stuck out tongue with a little grin, and then he'll
I don't, just gonna
walk
say,
on.
as much as I appreciate the attempt, I don't think he would have grinned at me.
No, I agree.
You don't think he would have grinned?
No.
Okay.
No, absolutely not.
Nope.
He's
Mm,
still mightily pissed. This
mhm.
is, like you pointed out, only been a few hours since our conversation.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
Oh no, maybe the thought of you getting stabbed is helping balance some of his feelings out.
that's fair.
You want a stab skill check?
Maybe he smirked. Yes, it is time for a stab skill check.
Okay. I assume that somebody is handing Nero a scalpel and
I just
not
want
letting her
yeah.
use the thermal knife that she walked in with.
I mean, sure.
She'll
Saoirse wasn't going to tell her you can't use your thermal knife. So, listen, you're the one cutting, whatever you feel most comfortable with.
Does Brother Nick correct her then?
Yeah, I think grab a
Be like, okay, yeah,
medical implement.
okay, girls.
She holds up the scalpel. So small.
I just think of it like you're playing with dolls. But, don't slice my arm off.
I never had dolls. She goes to start cutting.
Hold on, I'm going to make a constitution saving check.
I was gonna say just it does occur to me, has Nero ever done anything this careful before, like with a scalpel or knife?
Um, this careful probably not surgery definitely. Nobody
Mhm.
in their right mind has ever allowed her near anything like this.
You
Uh,
said she worked with
Mhm.
livestock, probably cut an abscess before.
probably cutting what?
An abscess.
Yeah. She did work with uh what'd you call it? I missed what you said.
An abscess.
Oh, yeah. So, like livestock, that's a common enough
Livestock.
thing.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, that's the word I was missing. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, she probably has
Can you
done.
move the derpy prisoner from last session off of the table so Saoirse can be sitting there, Ben?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Tanks.
Yeah, is that
Good enough.
good for you, Ben? I completely forgot about that. She certainly would have done a little bit of veterinarial
Okay.
surgery.
Yeah, I think that mitigates to some extent her lack of familiarity here. So
Yeah.
just take a -1.
Okay. Yeah, she basically just needs to be told where to cut, and Brother Nick or Saoirse can have drawn a line on her arm where to cut, and I think Nero would be fine with that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
except for I don't think that Saoirse had taken any painkillers,
yeah.
and
That we were going.
That's a
and Nero
Mhm.
just sliced in. I never had any dolls. Slice.
that's okay. Nero never gave any painkillers to the cows or the pigs either, so we're good.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, now that I know I'm on par with the cows and the pigs, I made a survive check with Constitution, Ben, if you wanted me to make a different one to see what Saoirse's pain tolerance would be like. But
Let's see.
it did come up as a 13, so if you want me to re-roll it as something else.
I'd probably be. I mean, that's probably fair. If you would have asked me, I might have been inclined to say a physical saving throw, but I don't know that it makes a huge difference in your case.
Yeah, I mean, I can try it. Physical saving throw.
Okay.
Oh,
So
7
she
versus 6.
she feels it all right. Narrow cuts and cuts deep like she'd been instructed. Um, if you let's see. Um, see Dex, if you have um, see, I don't know that you actually have something like that.
what are you looking for?
Um, just roll me like a 1d4 plus 2. How about that?
Oh, what for damage?
Hmm.
Yeah. Sure. There you go. Almost perfectly average.
So Saoirse only takes 2 damage. She definitely feels a decent bit of pain, but she was prepared for it.
Cool.
So she was probably straining her clenched jaw, but she manages not to yelp or anything embarrassing like that.
So embarrassing to express pain when you're being cut into.
Well, Twitch is gonna take our wholesome tag away from.
I think I
That
removed
ship
that.
sailed long
Yeah.
ago.
I'm interpreting some from her demeanor about it, the fact that she's just like, whatever. But if you're gonna use a thermal knife, so be it.
Oh no, she did use the scalpel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, the scalpel. All right, so uh, Danielle, describe for us how how the metamorphing and the slotting in of the little capsule goes.
All right, so Saoirse had decided for it to be under her arm, but on her upper arm. So if you feel like up under between your shoulder blade and your elbow, where there's almost sort of a hollow already between those two muscles and tendons, that's where she had decided to store it.
Okay. Just above the elbow. Got you.
No, it's like just below the shoulder, like
Oh,
the
oh, you're
underside of
talking
your
about.
bicep.
Sorry, I thought you said something about elbow. I think I get you. Okay. All right, so that's the spot you picked.
So now, Ben, does that count as readied or stowed?
It's definitely stowed.
Mm-hmm.
It'll take not only a main action, but application of a blade to
Arf.
retrieve it.
I've got to see if I can find that TikTok I'm thinking about.
All right, so anything else that we want to cover on the medical procedure?
No, nope. Not if we want to keep any semblance of family friendly on this.
No, I'm cool with that. I've got one more thing to add with Nero.
Yeah, I just meant with this scene.
Yeah. With the scene, I've got one more thing to add with Nero.
If there are any chunks of flesh left over, Saoirse's going to joke about giving it to Tom.
No, fortunately, Nair was careful enough not to leave any large extra bits.
Well.
Yeah, no, Nero, as Saoirse is clearly grimacing and trying not to cry out in pain, she gets one of those one of those rare mischievous little grins. The pigs say oink.
Saoirse is going to glare daggers at her. Do I look like a faffing pig to you?
Cows say moo.
Oh my stars. Do not even begin to reference the song in which I think you are referencing.
Curled into a smile.
Listen, are you a surgeon or a dosser? Don't make me eat the head off you.
What does the Saoirse say?
Something not family friendly, if you keep that up.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna run with this for a second because this is great.
Oh
Oh
no.
no.
Saoirse unfortunately remembers all too well the theme song of one of the more popular and incredibly, in her mind, obnoxious uh, AI shows coming out of Loenuda that was uh, one of their claims to fame in the sector was their varied and eccentric entertainment, and it would have been that exact song actually dug up in some ancient archive and repurposed,
Nope.
adapted a little bit for some twisted use by a show written for and written by AIs, which have evolved considerably since ancient Earth days, but are still not quite up to par with human writers.
Oh geez. Okay. So anyway, Saoirse would be annoyed.
Is this something that does Nero have her own copy of this, or is this just something that she was exposed to upon her
Oh, way to go, Dex! You made it canon.
I think no, yeah, I think it migrated over because Phyllis was such a already such a farming community that like
Mhm,
somebody thought it would be clever to bring everything, anything and everything that they thought was farming related, even though that has nothing to do with farming. It has animals in
mhm.
it, and so they
Yeah.
thought it was.
Oh man, I'm picturing this being becoming like a
Nope, let's not,
almost like a
please.
Phyllis inside joke, like just mocking these supposedly advanced cultures, and this is what they come up with.
I also think that Nero has in her few times in a club has danced to it.
Oh dear. Please stop.
Oh, that's perfect. Hmm. Ah, okay.
So anyway,
Anyways, enough of that for now.
for now, gee, great.
um, okay, and see. So what to next?
So we got it implanted. Now what?
we
Oh, hi, Iris.
It sounds like we've already had a bit of a decision of what to do with the prisoners. Because we now have Cade, and I think you were going to talk to Tom, see if he'd be willing to stay on the ship. And we also have Victor, who's not exactly a sneaky boy, if I remember right.
Not exactly a sneaky boy.
uh,
That's how I'm gonna describe my kids from now on. Anytime they try to get away with something. Not exactly a sneaky boy
Glad to
um,
contribute to the rearing of
of my
well-adjusted
children.
children.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Nero would be remembering, or Nero would remember that he definitely has that. She thinks she's better than him at it,
Oh,
but not by a significant margin.
Whoa, interesting.
okay. Oh, that's right, and I forgot I did only get sneak out to 2 because I went and said, I'm gonna be a team player and get noticed in pilot. Instead of being selfish and just upgrade the skills I like.
The hero we needed, but not the hero we ever deserved.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, her dex compensates for that a lot though.
Does it?
It does. Does. Nero is extremely quick and agile. Okay. So if we wanted to send somebody else with Nero, then Victor could go. That's getting ahead of us, but that's just to consider who all can stay on the ship um, to guard these guys. So I guess let's think about let's skip to 3 first,
Okay.
because who sorry 4 first, because who we have scouting determines both 3 and 2.
Fair.
Um, do Brother Nick and Saoirse want to leave the ship while Nero, possibly plus Victor, does the main bit of scouting, or do they want to actually accompany her as she does scouting, like the non-social type scouting?
I think Saoirse would be up for that.
This might be a good time to remind you guys that you are on most of a full day's hike away from the city.
Mm-hmm. Right. So it's not just who goes with Nero for scouting. We do need to figure out who stays with the ship, because that informs what to do with the prisoners.
Yeah, there's going to be some delay. Whoever
Yes,
stays
it's
behind the ship is going to be there for a couple days.
so would Saoirse be continuing to do to attempting to get the balance right, I suppose, or we would not be able to continue trying to get the balance right on the um so the words escape me. Um on the thing for the prisoners.
No,
Ah,
Ben ruled that
Oh,
out.
the drug,
Yeah,
the
we rolled that
sedatives.
out.
No.
Okay.
we need
Yeah,
more information or more material.
Okay.
Or an expert.
Yeah. Um. So why don't we use this handy dandy map that we have and put the people that are going to be leaving the ship outside the ship, so we've got a visual representation.
Sounds great.
Sorry to anyone watching, you can't have the visual representation.
We'll explain short
Let's see. Are
after
you
this
guys
message
able
from
to?
our sponsors.
It's kind of dark. Do you guys see this kind of cloudy mountainscape over here?
You haven't moved us to any kind of map of anything.
No, it's one of your little one of your little scene
Oh,
rectangles over here on the right, top right for
yes,
Urala.
I do see it.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Right. But Ben, you're gonna kill me with these miss-sized boxes.
I know. I don't have the time. I don't know. Probably do have the time, but I wanted to
Probably.
spend the time to crop these all to the same aspect ratio, and
they're
probably not that tough.
they're all different heights and widths. All the frames around them are different widths. They're not evenly lined up.
I started out pretty well, but um,
But oh, how the mighty have fallen.
yeah.
No, you're fine.
He says after ragging you mercilessly.
Yeah, it used to, so it's not large. Sure, large is what I'd use
I think, yeah, large is what you used.
several times. Mhm.
And we're low, right? So for everyone who's not narrow, atmo filters.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, you're low enough. Now when you get up to the city, this city is high enough that you'll have cleared the worst of it, and you'll be okay without atmo filters. Um, but yeah, this day's worth of hiking is mostly straight up.
Well, the important thing here is this will actually be the first time since Nero got this cybernetics at what, like level 4, that she will realize this function of it.
Hmm.
And we've at least been in, on, and around Urala for since she was level 6. So, at the very least, the first time since 6 to use it on the planet where it's useful.
Yeah, and it would be stepping outside of the ship would be a strange sensation because um, she would recognize the difference in the pressure and the contents of the air. It feel different,
Mm-hmm.
but after some kind of conscious adjusting, it would become just background and feel like normal breathing again.
Okay. Might actually work. I actually had kind of the opposite idea of it. that uh, that it just kind of self-adjusted automatically, and the problem would be Narrow fighting it because she's, that feels weird. That's not how you're supposed to breathe.
Got you. Um, yeah, I'm flexible.
Cool.
If you'd rather have that flavor, that's fine by me.
Yeah, fewer things that require Narrow's conscious thought are better.
Yeah, and I intended it only to. I may have misworded it. What I intended to convey was just that, she would briefly be consciously aware of the change in her breathing.
Hmm,
Um,
I
it
gotcha.
would, yeah, like it would automatically adjust for her, but she would notice it at first and be like, "Oh, whoa, that feels weird."
Okay.
So we may have been closer than we realized
Yeah,
in
yeah,
our
that sounds right.
ideas, but it would soon fade into the background and seem normal to her again.
All right. So, who wants to go with Narrow on the scouting?
I am curious to know who would be, I guess, the more useful person to go along with you, because like if Brother Nick or Cade is going to be more useful, then Saoirse would not want to get in the way.
Well, I think
But
you are needed. You have your metasonic abilities,
mm,
Mm-hmm.
and you could change the look of you into Tabukan looking people. If anyone does actually stumble or get to where they're about to stumble on to you.
fair.
I was thinking it'd be fun to go, but Brother Nick is not terribly sneaky.
Yeah, Victor would volunteer, but he's not going to press the issue. He's willing to go wherever he's needed at the moment. He just wants to do whatever he can to help find Boris.
I threw Saoirse into the mist.
Right, so Saoirse is going to go.
Hooray! Another Saoirse Narrow hiking trip.
Yeah. Uh, what is their what is their stance on Victor going or staying?
Um, if Brother Nick is gonna stay back with the ship, then uh, between him and Cade and the pilot, that pretty much solves our problem with the prisoners. And I
Mhm.
imagine that Brother Nick, with his survive, can probably find some food, which also solves another problem that we probably are coming up to. I guess not. The food lasts for 2 months, or does it?
Yeah, we uh, we had not been tracking that too carefully because so far you guys have never been far enough, long enough away from resupply to have concern about that.
Okay.
We had kind of decided the level of detail we would deal with on that was minimal. So basically, as long as you guys are going and resupplying, with recently enough, and you're not putting ridiculous levels of strain on the source. So like you guys have enough people, you're actually, you don't get the full 2 months worth, but you still get a month's worth as
Okay.
far as food stores go. So
All right. Well, then let's go ahead and bring Victor with us just as additional muscle. Um, that way we've got Brother Nick and Aiden, the pilot, making sure that the our prisoners don't get out of hand.
Yeah, which I think is a good group.
Yeah.
It's a very competent mix. So,
okay, yeah, and you've also got Tom.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So the expedition departs. Let's see. Now, since we are splitting the party here, I'll just say my general preference is that well, we want to either keep things relatively brief on the split
hmm
part, or we want to make sure we've got enough to do to bounce back and forth occasionally and keep the rest of the party engaged. Um, so Ethan, I suppose if you think of something that you'd like that you'd be interested in uh,
Oh, weren't
playing
him and
out with,
Tom already having a conversation?
they were, yeah. Um, so if you wanted some more of that, that would be fine.
Oh, I want more of that.
Well, there's one vote. Um,
Oh yeah, I think that's very interesting, and I think it's better for character development of Tom and for when he does eventually get to represent his race.
It
mhm.
it's also right up both Ethan and Brother Nick's alley.
LOL.
True. All right. Well, Ethan, you can be thinking about that. You do have veto power on that, but um, we can, at the very least, maybe do some out of character stuff there. But to start with, um, we have Nero, Saoirse, and Victor heading off and trekking up the mountainside towards Arsinoe. And Victor seems quite at home in his trekking gear with his atmo filters on, nav comp at the ready, and yeah, so away you guys go. Let, let's do let's do exert checks.
Okay.
May I use Dex
This is gonna be
to represent how nimble she is in avoiding the more difficult reversals?
um no, this is gonna be Constitution.
Dang.
Okay. So, it's a good long day of trekking. Let me quickly glance at my notes here to see what we're
Hmm,
doing time-wise. It looks like you guys are probably hiking through the night.
okay.
Uh, unless you wanted to wait and try to time, if you wanted to time your arrival for daytime, I mean, sorry, your arrival for nighttime instead. Um, but your schedule has been very all over the place, so you can pretty much kind of tweak it to line up with your all in time however you'd like.
Hmm. I
You guys
thought
want to be, oh,
just a quick aside. I thought Saoirse had ended up with a point in exert from all the time she spent with Nera.
I was never told that, so I
Oh.
didn't add it, but that would be nice.
you're talking about a free point, or you're just saying you thought she had put a point in
I,
to
I
represent
thought
that?
you'd put a point in.
I probably should have. I still haven't leveled up, so
I'm not trying to pressure it. I just had that. It's a thought that I thought.
it is a thought that you thought.
It is. It is.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's something that we had joked about or talked about way back when we were first on Urala, and Saoirse and Nero were going running and jogging a lot.
Well, and then Saoirse
Hmm.
was also learning how to punch
Oh, I
from
might have
Nero.
gotten that confused. Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
that makes sense too.
All right. So, do you guys want to arrive at the city during the day, during the night, somewhere in between?
I would say about twilight.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
And it gives us the best of both worlds. We've got some visibility to see what's going on as we come in, and darkness to then we're moving into darkness then to move about more easily.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see then. So, you guys went ahead and got a good night's sleep because you arrived in orbit uh, at night already. So, uh, gave you time to land at a good spot, um, get some rest after maybe after having done the procedure on Saoirse, um, which incidentally would have let her recover from her injury there as well.
Yeah.
So you all should be at this point, you should be topped off on hit points. You should have no extra system strain other than permanent, except Saoirse should have one
Oh, okay.
for her metamorphosis still. Um, so yeah, I think then you guys are all right. So it's a nice long trek through the day. Uh, it is a bit rough on Saoirse. She's gotten more exercise and more active in recent weeks than she has been in a good while, but I don't guess she's done anything quite like this and enough to become accustomed to it.
Nope. She left that part of her military life behind. She said, "No more for me, please and thank you."
Yeah. So as early evening approaches, the trio crests arise and sees the city laid out before them. Uh, it doesn't have walls exactly, but there is a fairly abrupt cutoff between the edge of the city and the just surrounding wilderness. It seems like it's mostly a modern built city, uh, pretty well planned out, and not a lot of organic growth over time, like uh, like many ancient cities would have had.
Hmm.
Um, Now, which direction are you guys approaching the city from? Uh, the the broad strokes on the city layout, or that the Tabukans have commandeered a couple city blocks in the western half of the city, uh, and the city is more or less bisected uh, northeast to southwest by a river running down the mountainside. and the let's see. Yes. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look in session chat at the some of the points of interest that you were able to uh, notice on your way in, surveying the city from above.
Hmm.
But the smoke that you had seen before uh, was coming from two sources. The orbital defense tower at the center of the city that looks like it took a pretty major beating, that is still smoldering a bit,
Oof.
and a starship wreckage also on the western half of the city that is looks like it's been burning strong and may continue doing so for some time.
I guess my vote would be for we're south, right?
I'm leaving that up to you guys to decide.
What do you think would be best?
Well, yeah. I'll decide that the mountains are to the north and the we're south and the river is flowing towards us. If that's what you mean,
Okay.
Ben.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Um, well, since this is the more of the recon scouting, I think we should just scout, uh, angle ourselves toward the Tabukan military camp. You know, uh, the three of us aren't really here for making the social chatter with the locals. We would have brought Brother Nick for that.
Hmm.
So let's do the job of getting intel, finding out what their numbers, what their forces are. Um, See if we can assess the situation on the ground
Hmm.
from, what little looking we're doing. And I don't think it would be a bad idea for us to also go into the city after we've assessed that, um, and see if there is any kind of underground resistance remaining. That's at least something that Nero can probably sniff out or try to sniff out, and then we bring our heavy social hitter.
He's a great hit at parties.
How does that sound to you two,
Sounds good to me,
Ethan?
brother Nick.
Sounds good. I think I covered all our points from the scouting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll go towards point of interest 3, Ben.
Okay then. So,
We're
you guys are
making a
approaching.
list, checking it twice.
You guys are approaching from the southern side of the city. Um, upon entering, I guess give me a notice check.
Yeah. Rolling the
Okay.
high numbers today.
Good thing
Yeah.
it's you and not me.
So everyone notices that there's not a lot of traffic, not even a whole lot of foot traffic. Um, and there are no, at least upon first entering the city, in the first few city blocks you pass, um, there are no, you know, military checkpoints or uh, patrols that you come across. Now, quickly remind me, are you, what are you guys, how are you guys dressed, and what is your approach to infiltrating the city at this point.
I like how you say remind me, like we specified that. Very courteous of you.
I do try to give the benefit of the doubt and give grace where I can.
Hmm.
Makes it a little more, uh, makes it a little better when I later crush you.
Oh, thanks.
Try to offset that.
um, I don't think we necessarily wanted to hike in actual battle dress, so I don't think Nero would be wearing the combat field uniform. Um, she's probably just wearing her normal outfit, um, the secure clothing that is so frequently seen. Well, it is seen in her avatar,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
probably with a camouflage vest over it if we, or camouflage jacket over it if we have one.
Okay. So, as far as the approach during the city, are you wanting to try to uh, basically pass as normal
Oh,
city goers, or are you wanting to try to just stay out of sight entirely?
staying out of sight entirely at first. Right now, just kind of uh, checking the perimeter of the
Mhm.
Tabukan camp, far out at first to see what kind of patrols they have, if any. Um, and then if they don't have any patrols, then inching a bit closer to try and get some of that tactical information.
Okay. All right then. So yeah, the as the three of you kind of slink along uh, the sidewalks of these streets, um, kind of trying to stay out of sight as much as you can, checking around corners before you go and all that. Um,
Question:
hmm?
are we unable to do this without going into the city?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay,
the
got it.
Tabukan camp is inside the city.
I think that was a point that didn't resonate with me. Got it.
Okay. Yeah, they
I also didn't get that, but that's
they are not to the west of the city. They are in the western half of the city.
mm,
So,
Gotcha.
um, and from the look you got overhead, it looked like they basically cordoned off a couple of blocks
Okay. Well then,
that
before we get
mhm.
to actually trying to get there, I want to make sure that we're not slinking along city streets that have nobody else on them. Like that we're not the only people on the streets.
Hmm.
like it's oddly quiet here.
Yeah. And what are those three people doing there? Oh, they must just be residents. No, all the residents are dead. They must be someone
Wow.
else.
Why are the
Gotcha.
residents in power armor? This is odd.
Okay, so let me then uh, jump to a different part of the notice check and what that
Quickly
would
moves
Okay.
tokens and power armor off the screen.
what that was giving. Yeah. Oh, what?
I don't know what you're talking
You
about.
you hear a sudden suspicious shuffling of feet. No. What Nara would be noticing is subtle signs that the city is definitely still occupied uh, to a large extent. It's not like there is, as far as she can tell from um, at first entering, there's not been some mass exodus. And she would have probably suspected that just by the fact that there's not much of anywhere to go. Um, there aren't small communities nearby in the wilderness or anything.
Okay.
So, but she notices as you guys go along that there are occasionally people out, usually not dawdling and keeping to themselves from place to place. Mostly mostly foot traffic. You do see the occasional ground car or grav car, but they uh, it's definitely much more sparse than you would expect of a city this size. And Nero notices lots of little flickers of movement, people, checking windows and peeking through kind of like the glass viewports on doors and things like that. Um, so she gets the feeling that the populace here is mostly hunkered down. People are, to some extent, going about their business, but it definitely quite subdued compared to usual.
Okay. Um,
So they would definitely be noticed, if somebody were to look down the street, but it wouldn't be like, oh, why are there people moving at all on the street?
okay. So then for getting towards the the camp without with some alibi essentially, um, Nero will suggest that Saoirse ask someone. Would Nero suggest Saoirse ask someone, or is she just gonna do it? She's gonna say it. Um, basically, Nero says that we need to know what's some kind of shop or something that's open over there. I'm gonna go ask that guy.
Nero,
What? What?
are you sure you're comfortable doing it? Just talking to him like that.
Is there a better way?
She's gonna look at Victor.
Uh, he'll shrug. Um, I do not know. We could listen to radio perhaps, but don't know if they would be talking about this.
Saoirse's going to offer to metamorph into a Chibukan civilian they've run across before.
Oh no, she's not going to talk to a Tabukan. She's gonna go talk to a Uralan.
Sorry, a Uralan, not a
Okay,
Chibukan.
got it. Uh,
Um,
yeah, that's better.
Now, I will go ahead and take this opportunity to remind you guys. Um, so far, at least on Tabuk and Urala, people haven't been um, phenotypically diverse enough, or I should say distinct enough, for that to be a concern. Like, oh, you're at a glance
Okay.
obviously Tabukan or Uralan otherwise. Now, if you want to still disguise yourself, that's entirely fine. Just you don't
yeah,
need to try to. If you wanted something like that, there might be little nuances of clothing style that would make you fit in a little more,
I think
but it's still not going to be like, oh, you're wearing that, you're obviously a foreigner.
I think the hesitation is that mechanically it's better for almost anyone to talk to people than Nero. And
Mhm.
roleplay wise too, sometimes.
LOL.
Like Nero does not have the talk skill. I don't remember if Saoirse does.
Well, fortunately, it is entirely possible to ask someone for directions without being particularly charismatic.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And as I've lauded the system for before, not having a skill doesn't mean you can't make a check with it, because
Hmm.
All right, well then if Saoirse offers to metamorph into someone, then Nero could be like, I'm just gonna ask for directions.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Nero says that I'm just asking for directions.
Saoirse's
Alright.
like noticeably nervous about it, but she's gonna acquiesce.
So the guy she had set her sights on is he's
Ooh,
keeping
Kareem's
a
got the
steady
jills.
pace. He's getting ready to round a corner. He did glance at you guys a time or two.
Okay. Um. So he's actively walking away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But he's not running or anything. Nero could catch him.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
no.
that's real good. Hey, you! Dum, 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 dum. I want to ask you a question. Dum, 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 dum. Ah!
All right, Dex, tell me with a straight face that Nero would not do that.
She would not do that. Not in this particular environment.
Okay, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. LOL.
I considered that possibility, but I knew there was definitely the other possibility too.
So if there's anybody else, she's basically just looking for someone who's like whose trajectory, whose path is not one that we have to chase to catch up with. Someone that we could kind of just naturally mosey on over to, even if they try to skirt away from us a little bit.
Okay. Um, that will. It'll probably take just a couple minutes to wait. Pace yourself and keep aware of the situation, kind of angle to intercept. Um, align your path with someone else's, but you do end up coming across a path of a woman with two small kids.
Oh, okay.
Nero feels bad now.
Yeah, I I had meant to narrate this being more impactful on her, but I got lost in. I think that she's been riding the adrenaline rush of the long trek overnight,
Mm-hmm.
so
Hmm.
you know, the the memories of how much alike this is have not quite collided with her yet.
Mm-hmm.
So she tries to approach this woman as unthreateningly as possible.
Okay.
And
Yeah, she.
uh,
Um,
no, go ahead.
I was just say she definitely notices a guarded look, but uh, the woman apparently quickly assesses and decides that Nero is not worth trying to avoid. So she'll pause just a short distance away as Nero is clearly approaching to talk.
Okay. Um, so on your Rala, I know they had these weird food things, and I know that we've been to places outside the main city. Did they still have the weird food things outside the main city?
They do.
Okay. Follow-up question.
Now,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
So instead of playing 20 questions with you, um, taking my own advice. So Nero wants to basically ask something like, "Hey, is that coffee shop still over there in the direction of the camp? The one all the way down the street where the where those guys have set up. Is it still open? You know, something like that. As long as that's culturally appropriate."
Okay. Yeah, so it would be. She she would know that there are every major city that of Urala that's built, in these higher places has at least one of those temple type places that can produce food.
Okay.
Um, however, they're places other than the capital, they're not typically relied on by the entire populace for their routine meals.
Guess
So
they
there
can't
is
make enough human sacrifices out in rural areas.
uh, there is agriculture supporting a lot of the other cities. There's hydroponics, that sort of stuff. So
Okay.
she would know there are going to be some restaurants, there are grocery stores, there are things like that.
Okay. So if Nero had a chance to kind of mentally mark what street we were on, and Nero's memory isn't great, so she might get it wrong, but she'll ask that. Is that coffee shop over on Third Street still there? Are they open?
And the woman's going to uh, think just a moment and say, "I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't go that far. Uh, that's almost on the other side of the city. Uh, but
Yeah, but I didn't want to
I do
go
want,
all the way there because of those guys.
yeah. They've they've been enforcing curfew, but during the day, uh, we are supposedly free to come and go about our business."
Is
And
anyone open over there?
I think so. I wouldn't go within a couple blocks of their camp. I've I've just heard of people being
Okay, thanks.
bothered. Oh.
Oh, Nero.
So she kind of trails off mid sentence and watches Nero walk away, I guess.
Yeah, unless anybody came with Nero to salvage any other information that lady might have had.
Oh my.
And the lady is she is fairly quick to gesture on for her kids, and the three of them continue on.
Nero does actually, before walking away, look down at them, kind of give us a sad smile at them, and then up at the woman. It'll be
Yeah,
okay.
one of the little kids waves back and smiles, seemingly not too bothered.
Nero
And
waves, and then she's done with that.
all right.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of information. We know that as long as we're not breaking curfew, we can get a lot closer. Go on down to within a few blocks and find a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Okay. So your your trek across the city takes you a little while, um, but within around uh, within about an hour, uh, it is definitely getting darker. Um, but
Right, we did want to arrive at twilight,
yeah.
which gives us opportunity to sit down, have a cup of coffee if we make it in time, and then skulk around.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Um,
How much skulking around were you hoping to achieve before the sunset?
I think we're gonna end up skulking into the night. Um, if we can
That's the
find
title of this episode now, Skulking into the Night.
skulking into the night, I'll write it down. Um,
yeah.
if we can find uh a taller building and maybe get up to the rooftop.
Okay. To get a lay of the city and all.
Well, if we can make it this far, Nero's plan did not account for the fact that that we decided to come here at night. Um, but if we can make it, get ourselves over to the encampment and find a building there that we can camp out on top of so that we
Hmm.
can keep an eye on the camp and get a sense of what they're doing there, what their numbers are, and what their patrols are.
Okay. Alrighty then.
Shoot.
Spill something
See here.
again.
So,
No, I didn't spill something again. I'm just trying to continue painting Saoirse.
Okay.
I just clicked the wrong thing. So kind of
all right.
like spilling something, but digitally.
Fortunately, it can be cleaned up a little easier, maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
The undo button is a godsend.
If only life had
so-
one.
yeah.
Control Z for the win.
All right. So, as you guys are heading on, you end up going with a larger. You end up on this much broader street than some of the smaller ones that actually crosses the river, and you can you can see as you come up to the river, you cross and you cross the bridge. You get a good view of the city's defense tower from the ground. It towers considerably over a lot of the other buildings around the city center, though it is rivaled by a decent number of buildings further out. And it's definitely like you can see from this angle just as well that it is pretty well toast. It's going to need significant repair to be operational again.
Hmm.
Shoot.
But would it make a good vantage point?
It would. It's probably it's definitely out of your way. It's
Okay.
off, basically perpendicular to the path that you're headed on to get over to the camp.
Okay.
Um,
File that away for later.
okay. Um, and also as you cross the crest of the bridge, you have just a bit of a height advantage here to see down this long uh, thoroughfare that cuts through a good bit of the city.
Good opportunity to use thoroughfare.
um, Victor suggests he suggests that you stop, and he proffers his binoculars.
Okay.
Proffers. I'm hitting all the vocabulary bingo tonight.
I
Oh,
mean, come on,
sorry,
it's just a fancy way of saying offer.
Proffer. Can I
that's
proffer?
true. Well,
All you did is add a P and a R. Don't feel special.
excuse me.
Didn't
Uh,
realize I was playing with plebeians.
oh, it's
I want my words to be 7 letters or less. Wait, proffer. Dang.
Dang it.
um. So you're aiming. Sounds like you're aiming more for 5 or 6, maybe.
Probably, yeah. I'm
But
trying to method
Still
act
accurate.
narrow.
right. All right. So anyway, he holds out his binocular.
Yeah, she'll take a squinty look through. See, I can use long words too.
Oh my word.
Indeed. So what she sees is what comes into focus is she's just looking all the way down as far as she can see. She sees uh, what looks like a somewhat, I guess, like a field constructed military barricade that is crossing the street a good mile or so down the road. And from what she can see, it's manned, and there's they've got sort of a gate uh, across the road, and she can she can make out that there are some tents and things uh, in the kind of in the side on the sides of the street back beyond that barricade inside the camp, and also some armored vehicles that are pretty much lined up along that highway.
Hmm.
Um, she can she can count about a dozen of them inside the camp. Um, a, a mix of grav tanks and just armored troop carriers. Um,
Nero
and
mumbles. I had a wind cutter.
Saoirse's
uh,
going to side eye her and says, "That one of them fancy swords again."
Victor gives a low whistle. You and me both.
Cut those tanks in half.
He gives a deep chuckle. The he says, I suppose you are crazy enough to try that. I prefer the safer method.
What's the safer method?
He he pats his backpack and says, demolition charge, shaped, placed in just the right spot, and you wait for the right moment.
I know I can't say much for someone who's packing a heavy opioid in her arm, but I have to say I might be the safest one here.
Victor just shrugs at that. I don't know. Seems like you have some interesting abilities that so Nero tells me a little. I would not want to test myself against those kinds of powers.
Ah, I didn't say I wasn't dangerous. I just said I wasn't going to make a stupid chance if I didn't have to. I started to yawn mid-sentence. That did not come out well. Anyway,
Hey, that's fitting. She's hiked a full day,
Seriously tired.
and it is
hi.
bedtime again.
Saoirse is gonna look at um, Nero, and she's gonna ask her if the cup of coffee she asked that lady about was sincere, or if she was trying to speak in code like Brother Nick.
Mhm.
uh, no, that was so we could go have coffee and get closer without, like, it would suck if we walked down the street and there was nothing open, and then some soldiers came out and said, "Hey, why are you walking down the street?"
Ah,
Because if the coffee shop is open, we can say we're going there.
aye.
Oh, don't worry. If Soldier asks, we are visiting my old grandma.
Can
Um,
your grandma run the coffee shop? Oh, that'd be great. 'Cause I really
mhm,
need a cuppa. And
of
fresh
course.
socks. You didn't tell me to pack socks, Nero.
Oh, we're hiking.
Do I look like someone who hikes very often to you?
No.
Saoirse doesn't know if to be satisfied with that response or offended, actually. She's just gonna say, well, brought that on myself.
We should probably not linger on the bridge here. There
No.
are others about, but
Uh,
these stand out.
yeah. Nero takes another quick look to look for a appropriately sized building that we can make it to before this curfew is supposed to start.
You're talking about a building that stands taller than most of the rest.
Yeah, she'll trade off the height for safety. Like she'll take a shorter building that's closer, just to avoid getting caught out on the street.
Mm,
And she's
okay.
also looking for one that might not have the best security, so that if we have to actually break into it to access the roof, then
Mhm.
it's not going to be that difficult.
Okay. Well, with those criteria, she finds what she thinks might just be the
Oh
perfect
no!
candidate.
No! Me.
What's that?
Okay.
More spelling.
My iPad just died, and I don't know how much of my art is saved.
Oh
Oh,
boy.
Yeah,
All right.
less
Good
silly.
luck there. So
More
what she finds is about halfway between your current position and the camp as she's scanning with the binoculars. Uh, she realizes that there's a swath of destruction that cuts across the highway. Uh, she didn't notice it at first because looks like it it may have at least partially gone through a small park. There wasn't a lot of there's
Yikes.
not just an incredible amount of rubble in the street, but uh, she does see that there's a moderately tall building right on the edge of that looks like it's missing some of the face of the building towards you, and
okay.
doesn't doesn't seem likely to be well. Although it may still be occupied, she can see an easy way in, and she doesn't see any sign of security forces of any type around that building
Okay.
or on
Perfect.
top of it.
She hands the binoculars back to Victor and looks at them both. We should hurry now. Like, we don't want to get cut out in the curfew, because we don't.
Where are we going?
There. She points with her eyes over at the pretty badly tore up building.
Hmm. Yeah, you can make it out from where you are even without binoculars. It stands out a bit among the rest. Um,
Saoirse's gonna down the rest of her coffee.
so give me another notice check.
All right. Oh, this was the time to roll low.
Mm.
Yes, this was exactly the right time to roll low.
Can I have Saoirse assist because she's like terrified right now?
You
Maybe
could,
not
but
terrified, but super, super anxious.
I would have said yes, but as it stands now, it wouldn't make any difference.
Ouch. Those
Yeah,
aren't
I
the words
rolled
you want
too
to
low
hear.
for that.
Sorry.
Nero does have
Um,
alert,
she
just in case
does.
it matters.
She
It
just
might.
wasn't alert this time.
um, all right, so the three of you hurry along down the road,
We're making our way downtown.
Downtown.
further into the city. Not exactly towards the city center, but you're making your way closer to the Tabukan camp. Uh, you're kind of heading parallel to the city center at this point. And as you come up you come up to a large intersection. Um, there's Nero notices just a bit too late the a sound that brings back uh, potentially traumatic memories. Is the hum of grav tank
Oh shoot.
repulsors.
Yeah. I imagine that mechs have a very similar sound.
They definitely do, and Harvario had also employed grav tanks in their forces as well. So she would have she would have been familiar with both.
Mm-hmm.
And as they've stepped out uh, towards the intersection, not exactly into it yet, but they you're able to turn and notice an apparently Tabukan patrol coming down the side street you're about to cross, um, consisting of a grav tank and you know I don't know if flanked is the right word, but anyway, with one troop carrier in front and one behind, uh, with several soldiers manning anti-personnel weapons atop each of them. Uh, how do you, how do you all react to this?
Um, Saoirse's gonna look around for the closest building that they can
Okay.
dash into.
There's a building just behind you, uh, basically to your left. You haven't entered you haven't started across the street yet. You're just like on the sidewalk there. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so you guys can basically just kind of dash back or hurry back from the sidewalk next to the building there. You
Uh,
wanting to get out of sight, or are you just wanting to back off from the street?
I think I want to get out of sight, but
okay.
I would
Um,
be
they
if
will have they will have almost definitely seen you if anybody's paying attention at this point.
is it night at this point though?
It's definitely dark.
Like is it the
Some
sun is still actively setting or it's past
yeah,
sundown?
the sun is mostly set.
All
The
right.
street lights have just started coming on. There's enough light to for you to see them and for them to see you.
Um,
And I want to jump in just real quick to say that I think with the grav tank and the memories and that roll of 4, um, this might be when it's crashing on Narrow, and Saoirse might need to pull her.
yeah, I think upon seeing that Narrow's not moving, because she'd probably say, like, Narrow, what do you want to do? And if Narrow's just standing there staring at the grav tank, she's gonna say, Victor, grab her. And she's gonna,
Mm,
pull on Narrow's wrist and try and pull her back away from the grav tanks and into the closest building possible, essentially.
yeah, Victor he'll just he'll say quickly and somewhat hushed, uh, uh, "Don't move too quickly. Play it cool." And he'll take Nara by her elbow and kind of nudge her along back towards the building. We'll just stay out of the way and watch.
Yeah,
They'll
Narrow
expect
can be led
um,
easily enough.
yeah, they'll expect us to avoid them. And the patrol passes by. The soldiers and their weapon emplacements uh, stare at you as they drive past, but they don't make any moves to do anything to you or about you. And you give them a minute to move along. You are able to continue and make it to the building of choice. And as the three of you enter the building and are making your way up the stairs, incidentally, powers is not there's not power in this building anymore. Cut back to Brother Nick. Ethan, did you want to have some conversation some more between Brother Nick and Tom?
There we go. Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Could y'all hear me?
Did I drop
You
out
said
or
yes.
Ethan?
Oh, I don't think so. I think I heard a yes from Ethan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so Tom would be um, he would be staying uh, up towards uh, the part of the ship where the bridge and the makeshift prisoner quarters are, just since there are fewer people on the ship. Uh, he's gotten the idea that he's supposed to help keep tabs on things and make sure nobody gets unruly. And the pilot, incidentally, uh, he is trying to get comfortable elsewhere in the ship, um, taking some time away from the bridge.
For the first time in forever.
Mhm. Yeah, he's got himself a little pallet in the engineering room.
I wonder how well he knew the guys who are prisoners now.
Mhm. Yeah. So, how does Brother Nick? What does he go to Tom with? What's he ask him? Tell him.
Oh, I was thinking maybe talking while he was working on some of his projects. He's got the mod for Nero he's working on, and I had been
Mhm.
working on that distillery idea.
So does he has one of her monoblades? Is that right?
Yeah, he has her favorite monoblade.
Okay.
Because of course there's a favorite.
There has to be. Okay. Um, yeah, I imagine at some point Tom would come by just to check on him, and he could rope Tom into some more conversation there in his little. Is he? Um, let's see. Let me check something here. Oh, now I'm trying to remember here. Do you guys actually? Hmm. May have to clarify or revise what I have said. Maybe may have misremembered something here.
Do mods
Um,
require a workshop?
I think they just might.
We're kind of running low on time. Maybe we can talk about that
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah, that's true. Let me defer that till later. So we'll just say that whatever Brother Except 2 can rope Tom into some chatting about that.
Okay. So yeah, I guess while he's working, I guess maybe just fleshing out more of what Tom is wanting, what end goal he has pictured for their diplomacy.
Okay. I blinked on one word that you said. What's they had in mind for their
He's
diplomacy?
like, what end goal, or what
End
does he
goals, yeah.
find, as the result of his diplomacy? Is what he's picturing if everything works out like he's wanting.
hmm Yeah, so um, he he ends up providing Brother Nick with a mixture of images and words, but some of the images would involve uh, a what seems to Brother Nick like a pretty significant presence of the the varied life forms that make up his species apparently uh, on a planet's surface. It's not a very clearly uh, fleshed out image. It's a bit vague and blurred in parts, but uh, there's definitely involved a number of Tom's sort of hybrid variant that are living and interacting with those other alien forms, and he seems to be envisioning uh, they're making use of some advanced technologies and living accommodations and stuff, though it's very clearly hazy in his mind. Um, he definitely seems not to have a very clear picture of um, how that will function as a larger society. But he definitely seems to have some idea of working alongside, you know, the drone and wolf type creatures that you all have seen and the ones that you left behind on underscore Kupiets. And he also envisions dealing with far traders coming through and you know buying and selling things. Um, he also um, envisions being at uh, at peace, not not expanding beyond the one system that they're given. That that image is very clear in his mind that he understands very well that very likely going to be it's very likely that the only way any of these human uh, systems will agree to any of this is if the Jakari content themselves with somewhere that is theirs and that they're going to have to keep from expanding beyond that. Uh, and he's going to have to figure out a way to keep uh, things on friendly terms with everybody because he, he seems very well aware of how easily humans will rally against the alien. And Brother Nick gets the distinct sense that that conviction comes from personal experience on Tom's part. Does Brother Nick have anything to say? Any sort of advice or encouragement to give Tom about any of that?
I think he'd voiced that he had, similar hopes and kind of talking through, I guess, somewhat talking through the broad strokes of what they would need to make some of that happen.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking on like the technology that they would need a way to carry some resources and infrastructure to whatever planet they go to, probably back to Uriskor Kupiets. And how that would involve, I guess, maybe at tops, like get a ship with a colony core. At the
Mm-hmm.
minimum, I guess buying some of that outpost, like some outpost kind of stuff.
Mm.
And starting with that. Then Brother Nick, thinking education, I'd say, y'all are going to need more than, just my couple readers to be able to get the queens and I guess the two of the hybrids, Tom and Lady Tom,
Mm-hmm.
the read up enough on what they'll need to maintain their own colony. So starting to plan out how they could get it's more info and probably also talking some kind of educators or specialists into helping with some of the initial setup and training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Brother Nick, well, Tom ends up he ends up sending a feeling of uh, concern and sort of being overwhelmed at the prospect of trying to trying to somehow integrate this lifestyle that he imagines with what what he knows the natural inclinations and state of the basically the purebred Chikari are naturally inclined towards. And there's also he'll also say, I'm afraid that we'll end up one of the few things that we have to offer any prospective friend is our ability to fight. And I don't know how we will be able to secure any sort of promises without offering something of value. I suppose that if it must be, then we'll do it. If it means peace eventually. But there's also uh, there's an unspoken fear of Tom's that um, he knows that the Chikari will thrive on that, and he's not sure that they'll want to give up sort of lifestyle once they are given free rein to embrace it. But he only that only comes across briefly, and then he seems to sort of shove that away and tries to end the conversation on a more hopeful note that something he hopes to get from all of this is some way for him to reproduce his own his own hybrid variant, because he doesn't know how they were made or produced or whatever. Uh, doesn't know if they came out of a test tube or if there was something done involving the queen. That was something that was very apparently very carefully kept away from them through all the stuff they went through. Anyway, any parting words from Tom? I mean, from Brother Nick.
Um, I guess for some of Tom's doubts of he'd say that a big part of building a society or any civilization is going to be appealing to the angels of people's better natures.
Mm.
And that's going to be for the Gikari and the humans.
Nicely
Mm.
put.
And he'd offer that he thinks the church would help. I know there's talking long term, they'll need to have trade and diplomatic relations, but at least starting out, Brother Nick is thinking the church or the Church of the Sky would be willing to help with not too many strings attached.
Oh, okay, yeah, Brother Nick's own church.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, Tom would have agreed with this first point and then definitely perk up at his second point about the church. He would he'd say, I would definitely want to talk more about that at some point, about where they hold influence and power and in what ways they might be able to. He'll file that away for later. But for now, we'll consider the session coming to a close. Uh, go ahead and dish out 2 experience for the session. And we'll get our favorites written out here. Wrapping up a little bit late, but we started a good bit late too, so I think we're right. All right, who wants to go first?
Mine's selfish, so I'll go.
All righty.
I liked that failed notice check, honestly, and being able to kind of springboard from that and let Nero actually be vulnerable. Like she obviously has vulnerabilities, um, and sometimes they show, but it felt like this time it smacked her in the face so hard that she just stood there stunned. And I liked
Mm-hmm.
having that opportunity.
I think you role played it really well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Danielle, do you mind if I go ahead and roll your level 10 hit points for you, or do you want to do that?
You can do it, but if they suck, I'm gonna want to redo it. So.
Hmm. Hey, how this gonna work? So I'll leave it to you.
Oh, okay. If you're sure, you sounded like you wanted to do it.
No, I just wanted to make sure it happens before the next time you guys get into a fight.
Yeah, that's fair.
um. All right, Ethan. What was your favorite from tonight?
Hmm. Um,
You can also pass if you'd like. You know.
I guess all the putting in the capsule stuff was pretty fun. Or maybe not fun, but
It's like who is having fun?
I mean, Ethan's allowed to have fun with that.
it was neat seeing Brother Nick's conflicted and begrudging assistance.
Hmm.
I thought you played that well.
Yeah, definitely. The fact that even though he didn't really like that idea, he's like, okay, well, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. Yeah.
So, well done there. All right, Danielle, what about you?
Um, I did really like, I will say, um, I did really like when we went into the city and to see Nero kind of have a moment of not knowing what to do, I guess. Just,
Hmm.
I don't know. I thought it was well done and I enjoyed it. So the role playing, I guess, was my favorite tonight.
Yeah.
Shoot. And the fact that I didn't spill my drink on my keyboard.
That's also a good thing. Think here. So I think for me, excuse me. Uh, It's I think the main thing is definitely the scouting party into the city, and I think also Nero's conversation with the Uralon woman.
She made me think of Bruno from Encanto. She was like, bye. I was like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah,
Can't just nope out. And she's like, that's what I'm doing.
yeah. I guess with her interaction with the family, even though it was fairly brief. She didn't talk at length with the kids or anything. Just um, seeing her, however brief, acknowledgement of their situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and I think I'll have to also just plug the fact that uh, uh, Tom is being put more in the spotlight. Um, I guess getting Tom's plans out there, because he's just in a very interesting position, um, and it's one of the things that I'm very interested in seeing play out is how he ends up being able to handle things, how the party helps him, what path they decide to try to take to help him accomplish things, and which goals of his align with theirs and which ones they decide may not be uh, aligned with what they think is right. So
She's been foreshadowing.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm assuming that there's at least a possibility that the party's not just going to say, "Oh, that's Tom's plans. All right, yeah, we'll just do all that." Um,
Fair.
because I mean, he is. I think he's fairly solidly in the position of ally at the moment. You guys have helped him a lot. He's uh, helped you guys some in return, but mostly it's been you helping him. And I'm very interested to see how much the party goes along with his goals and how much they end up going out of their way to try to help him, um, or just how all that plays out. Because there's just a lot of different ways that could go, um, on the gradient from you know on the gradient from hostile to closely allied. And there's just a lot of potential for in between. Anyway, yeah, I think that's all I had to say about that. Um, yeah, thank you all for listening and for participating.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it. Um,
I enjoyed it too. I'm looking forward to making more progress.
yeah, and looking forward to getting hopefully the whole group next Monday. And hopefully, um, if you guys can, let's see, we have. So you guys are deciding right now basically to just do the scouting and then leave number 5 actually entering the camp for possibly when you have the entire group.
Yeah, I think whether we enter the camp or not is gonna be largely dependent on what we find on this initial recon. Um,
Hmm.
it's so if we were to tell you as a GM what we're planning on doing next session, I think it would be either entering the camp or uh getting social with what survivors are here and seeing what kind of resistance was here, is here, and or where it's gone.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah, I
either
was gonna say,
further infiltration or social.
yeah, because I was gonna say if you guys are able to nail down your actual your objectives, um, and see if there's a way to accomplish those without having to get, um, because if one of your goals is something that just is going to require going into the camp, like if you want to rescue some possible Uralin prisoners of war or something like that, or if you want to like sabotage something about the Tabukan military operation, something like that may well require you to go into their camp. But
Of
if
course.
it's if your if your real goal is to gather that information that you guys have mentioned, um, that's there's definitely some more possibility for that to be acquired without delving in there. Um, and I'm primarily thinking of um, just the potential for getting the group back together, kind of minimize on the back and forth, which does slow things down a bit. Um,
Well,
but
to
anywho,
that point, I think I don't think we're going to do infiltration with just Nero, Saoirse, and Victor.
Mhm.
So, and
Yeah, that's true. And I guess I guess I will just plug the fact that um, I guess I just will say I'll make the suggestion that it's you guys do have your oh, what's it called? Um, basically the communication server thing
mhm.
that lets you do short range communication. I don't remember exactly what the range on that is off the top of my head. Um,
I think it's really
I
far.
I wanted to say it's probably pretty long. Um,
Feels like 100
let's
kilometers sounds right,
okay.
but I don't want to commit to that here.
Yeah. Oh, I forget they've got communications as its own separate category. Trying to
300
navigate
kilometers.
the. Oh wow, okay. Yeah, so you guys are well within that range.
Cool.
And so yeah, you guys would have a way to send some information back to the ship if you wanted to say something like, "Hey, we're planning X," and you know, it's actually, you know, it's it's not like the the lack of stealth is going to be a problem, or hey,
No,
there's some other stuff that would be helpful to have the others around for. You guys can communicate with each other, so leaves room for the group to be reunited before, without you guys having to go all the way back to the ship.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense. We can even continue our recon while they're making the trek up here.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mainly suggest that because I suspect you guys are going to want to do enough in the city that will at least take up a decent portion of the session. Um,
All right, how do I roll for my hit?
I don't I don't necessarily want to I don't really want to rush you guys through it, but I also just don't want for most of the session to be party split, having to try to figure out how to balance, you know, Saoirse and Nero with Brother Nick and Cade. So,
Understandable.
anywho, that's my 2 cents. Obviously, if you guys just decide that it makes the most sense to do it, keep it separated, and if that's your preference, then I'm fine with going with that as well. And just try to lean us towards the other possibilities. So Danielle, I already changed your level number to 10, so which was the first step to doing new hit points. But then you just go to the words hit points in your core statistics area, You just click those, and it'll ask you for any bonus hit points, and you won't put anything there. Just continue on through. Unless for some reason you decide to take Die Hard as your level 10 focus. Because you do get a focus that you have not yet chosen.
All right, 1 second. Oh, what did I just do? Okay, sorry. My stuff was freezing up.
Um,
Okay. So I open up my sheet and then what? Sorry, to start from the top. I've had a lot of technical difficulties tonight.
okay. You just click the words hit points over on the left side of your sheet,
Oh,
and does the rest. Alrighty.
Hey, not too bad.
not too shabby. Okay.
And I'll go ahead and close our stream here unless there's anything anyone wants to say as final words.
Final words. This was interesting. And I feel much better than our last stream. So I missed Robert though.
Yes.
Next
Mhm.
session.
Yes, if you watch this later, Robert, we missed you this session.
Yeah.
And
True.
I want to draw attention to, just in case you've forgotten it in the 2 hours since it happened, that we shot down Ben trying to misplay your character.
Oh
I
my.
knew that was going to come out.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I will be interested to hear Robert weigh in on whether Cade would have given some sort of smirk or grin as he uh, sassed Saoirse. But we shall see.
Yep. All right, I'm
Mhm.
closing it down.